How do you create 130,000 in monthly sales instantly? Well, that's exactly what we're covering today. Smart entrepreneurs don't wait years to build a big business. They use this secret weapon to get there faster. They've mastered this strategy, and that's why they succeed. If you're ready to be your own boss and ditch your 9 to 5, buying a business is the way to do it. But where do you even begin? Learning theory from a book is useful, but experience is everything. You need real-world insights, not just words on a page. And when it comes to business, there's one key question you should ask. Do you really need to be an expert in an industry before buying a business in it? The answer might surprise you, because if you're more flexible in your approach, you're more likely to win. The business I bought was a fitted furniture business, an industry I knew nothing about before I owned it. So, how did I pull this off? This is because the business already had 27 employees to handle the day-to-day operations. The business already had fitters to install the furniture, joiners to make the furniture in the factory. Yes, a full-on factory, and I'd never run one before. Designers to create the furniture plans, a production manager to turn the designs into reality, a showroom team to sell the furniture, and even an accounts team to keep the finances in check. So, you might ask, what did I actually do? This is the key question. But here's the thing. If you're asking this, you get it. You don't need to be an industry expert to buy a business. The employees who are running it are the experts. But here's the other thing. This approach forces you to think bigger, and you're no longer tied to industries you've worked in. You can buy any business, which means you have way more options. But the best part, you'll start finding great deals faster than ever. I get that this isn't for everyone. Going from upper management to business owner is a huge step. Doing this in an industry you know nothing about is an even bigger leap of faith. I get that. But think Richard Branson. Sure, he launched Virgin Atlantic, but how much do you think he really knew about running an airline before he started? Do you think he went into it planning to pilot the 747s himself? Of course not. His mindset was simple. Build a business that's better than the competition. He didn't dive into the day-to-day operations. He focused on the bigger picture. Instead of working in the business, he built the team to run it for him. And that's exactly what I'm suggesting you do. But with one key difference. You're not starting from scratch. You're going to be buying a business. But not just any business, a £1 million business. Scary, right? I was scared when I did it. But let me ask you this. If you had the choice between starting a business from scratch or buying one that already has sales of 1.6 million, which would be easier? A startup could take years to hit 1.6 million pounds in sales, right? But how long do you think it would take to grow a 1.6 million pound business to a 2 million pound one? I agree that it's a 25% increase, a challenge for sure, but a far more achievable target, right? This one thing was the ultimate cheat code that fast-tracked me to owning the biggest business I've ever had. This is the key step that will fast-track you to owning a business. And I'm just going to give it to you. This is my full roadmap. I break it down into 7 clear steps. Picture these as stepping stones to your success. You'll need to complete these 7 steps to take ownership of a business, or you'll never be able to quit your 9 to 5 and you'll never be your own boss. Okay, so the first major hurdle. How do you afford this? And what if the bank rejects you? Which leads us to the first step, which is step 1. Figuring out how to fund the purchase without piles of cash. If these questions are on your mind, here's what you need to understand. You're not buying a business with your money. You're buying it with the business's future cash flows. It's about what the business can afford, not what you can afford. Most people assume they need a huge savings pot to buy a business, but that's not true. The key isn't how much you can afford to buy a business, it's about making sure the business can afford to pay for itself. How? By structuring the deal smartly. To find a business that can do this, you need to do the following. Ask the seller lots of questions. Your goal isn't just to gather facts, it's to uncover ways to structure the deal creatively. Use seller finance. Instead of paying everything up front, ask the seller to let you pay over time, using the business's own profits. Leverage asset finance. If the business has valuable assets like equipment, property, stock, and accounts receivable, you can borrow against these instead of using your own savings. Use deferred payments. Negotiate a deal where you only start paying after certain milestones are reached. I recently helped sell a business where the seller agreed to receive lump sums on certain dates, the first one being after 2 years of ownership. By the way, this business sold for a cool £1.6 million. And this is why I developed the Buying a Business software. It's designed to help you both evaluate a business's value and work out how to fund the purchase. So here's the thing. Find the right business first, financing comes second. But what is the right business? And do you have to work 24/7 when you buy a business? Which leads us to step 2. Buy a business that runs without you. The goal must not be to own a business and get trapped in it. The goal should be to own a business that works for you, one that runs smoothly, generates income, and doesn't demand all your time. This is about buying freedom and not buying yourself a job. Only look at businesses that have a strong team. You need a business with key employees who can run the business for you. You want a running business, not a rescue project. When you buy the business, you will be replacing the seller, so make sure the business doesn't rely on them to function. If the business can't function without them, it won't function without you either. But what if you mess this up? Or what if customers leave? I hear you ask. This leads us to step 3. Reduce your risk of failing. It's only natural to fear failure, but the smartest buyers take steps to reduce their risk. To do this, I suggest you do the following. Look at businesses with consistent profits and strong customer demand. Only look at businesses in a stable or a growing market. And avoid industries in decline. Only look at businesses with sales of over £1 million and profits over £100,000. Buy a cash flowing business, not a money pit. The business should have its own customer brand loyalty. If all the relationships are with the seller, you might struggle to keep those customers after buying the business. Avoid costly mistakes. by checking everything carefully during due diligence. Know what you're buying before you commit. In fact, my course teaches you how to do due diligence yourself, helping you cut out the cost of hiring expensive accountants. Take a step back. Does this business need industry expertise, or can it thrive under a strong leader with transferable skills? Consider what I managed to do. I bought a fitted furniture business. I had zero experience in the industry, and yet I made it work. Or, if you prefer, look at Richard Branson. He set up Virgin Atlantic without ever running an airline before. Neither of us needed to be industry experts. We just needed the right team and the right strategy. So the real question isn't, do I have experience in this sector, but can I run this business like a business owner, not as a technician? So before you count yourself out from this approach, ask yourself, do I need to know how to build furniture or fly planes? Or do I just need to know how to run a great business? I highly recommend you read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. It explains perfectly why the business should be structured to run independently of the owner. There's a link to buy it in the description. Now, you've nailed the type of business you should buy, but where do you even start when you have so much choice? Which leads us to step 4, finding the right business for you. Don't get lost in endless listings. Be specific about what you want. This is where you begin. Brokers and online websites like businessesforsale.com list businesses for sale, but the real gems are often found off market, where you have more control and less competition from other buyers. Contact business owners directly. Your letter might land on their desk at the perfect time, and the right owner can be grateful you reached out. Let people know you're looking, and you'll be surprised at how many hidden opportunities start appearing. Once you put it out there, you'll be amazed at the opportunities that come your way. But you may ask, what's a fair price, and how do you negotiate and structure the deal? Which leads on to step 5, deal structuring and negotiation. Before you can even begin to structure the right deal with the seller, you need to first understand their reason for selling. Start by asking the seller lots, and I mean lots, of open-ended questions. The more they talk, the more you'll learn. Pay close attention to their words and what's left unsaid. Understanding their real needs will help you shape a deal that they're happy to accept. A seller's wants are negotiable, but their needs are what really matters. Find those, and you can structure a deal that works. If you want to sharpen your negotiation skills before buying a business, I suggest you read Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. There's a link to it below in the description. I know how buying a business can feel overwhelming at times, especially when you're learning as you go. But my free community, included with my online course, gives you a space to ask questions, get real answers, and build confidence as you move forward. But let's assume you've found a business. What happens next? What contracts do you need in place? This leads to step 6, legal and compliance headaches. Don't let legal worries stop you. Get the right expert guidance. So, while it's possible to buy a business without using a solicitor, I know this because I recently sold one this way, and the buyer didn't use a solicitor either, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. But what I do recommend is to do the following. Find a good solicitor, as not all solicitors are the same. Choose one with real experience in business acquisitions, not just property transactions. Stay away from hourly rates. Agreeing on a fixed price keeps costs predictable and ensures your solicitor stays focused on completion. Make sure the seller also uses a commercial solicitor and that they're on a fixed contract price too. This prevents delays, avoids unnecessary costs, and it keeps everyone focused on getting the deal done. Create a heads of terms or a letter of intent. This is a simple but powerful way to put it down in writing what you and the seller have agreed. You can then send this document to your solicitor to draft the sale and purchase agreement. But what happens on the day you take over the business? Will customers and suppliers stay? These questions take us to the final step, which is step 7, transition and support. Like you, I was worried on the day I took over the business I bought, but I quickly realised I didn't need to be. The employees were incredibly helpful and supportive, and they knew the business inside and out. So here's what I'd say to help you think about transitioning into your new business. Build a transitional period so the seller helps you settle in. You won't be alone. The team will already be in place and they will know how things run. You won't need to know all the answers on day one. Listen and learn from the employees. You're not buying a job, you're buying a business. The employees will handle the day-to-day. You're there to lead, to make strategic decisions, and to trust the systems. Change can make employees anxious, but you can ease their fears. Be open, communicate clearly, and show them they have a secure place in the business's future. Keep paying the suppliers on time and they'll have no reason to stop supplying your new business. If you buy a business with a loyal customer base that trusts the brand, not just the owner, and you maintain great service and quality, there's no reason for them to leave. In fact, they don't even need to know the business has changed hands. Consider this. When I sold one of my businesses, one of my top priorities was making sure the new owner would look after my employees the way I did. Sellers care about who takes over, so make sure your values align with those of the owner. If you align with the seller in terms of core values, you're likely to connect well with their employees too, which means they are more likely to stay post-takeover. And that's a key part of a smooth transition. When employees feel comfortable with you, they're more likely to stay and support the business moving forward. So in summary, here's what we covered today. You don't need to be an expert in an industry to buy a business. Employees already running it are the experts. Buying beats starting. It's much easier to grow a £1.6 million business than to start one from ground zero. Funding isn't about your money, it's about structuring the deal so the business pays for itself. Find a business that runs without you. You want freedom, not another job. Limit your risk. Look for stable businesses with consistent profits and strong customer demand. Find the right deal. The best opportunities are often off market, so you need to be proactive. Master negotiation. Understand what the seller needs, not just what they want. Get the right solicitor and use fixed fees to avoid delays. The transition will be smoother than you think. Employees, customers and suppliers will keep things running for you if you handle it right. So, what's stopping you from owning a business? What's holding you back from taking the leap of faith, becoming your own boss and sacking your current one? Please tell me your biggest roadblock in the comments below and I'll personally reply to it. And if you want to know more about how seller financing works, watch this next video.